Guildford has always been associated with celebrities living in the Surrey countryside. However, Guildford is also home to several notable figures, especially in the world of literature, who have had the honour of their former homes celebrated with a blue plaque. To be awarded an official English heritage plaque, the proposed recipient must have died at least 20 years ago. The blue plaques are handmade in Cornwall by the Ashworth family, Frank and Sue, who are highly skilled artists and craftspeople who have been making the plaques since 1984. The first house to visit today was Alan Turing's former home at 22 Ennismore Avenue. He was a mathematician, computer pioneer and code breaker who was largely responsible for the modern computer and also helped to crack the German codes during the Second World War while working at Bletchley Park. The inscription found on the plaque at 22 Ennismore Avenue, Guildford, states that this was the family home of Alan M. Turing, 1912 to 1954, founder of computer science. Turing was aged 15 when his family took up residence in Guildford. Alan Turing's parents moved to Guildford in 1927 when they bought number 8 Ennismore Avenue off London Road, opposite Stoke Park, following his father's retirement in 1927. When further houses were built in the avenue, all the homes were renumbered and number 8 became number 22. Although away at school for long periods, Guildford gave Alan Turing his first proper home, and the family would go for long walks in Stoke Park and on the North Downs. Alan Turing developed an interest in astronomy, spending many hours at his Guildford home stargazing and drawing the night sky. He continued to visit the family home whilst he was at university in Cambridge. The plaque was unveiled in July 1988 by the actor Derek Jacobi, who appeared as Alan Turing in the play Breaking the Code, which premiered at Guildford's Yvonne Arnaud Theatre. Zoopla values the property now at approximately £1.76 million. Having mentioned Yvonne Arnaud, Germaine Yvonne Arnaud, born 20th December 1890, dying 20th September 1958, was a French-born pianist, singer and actress. She had dramatic roles and made films in the UK during the 1930s and 40s, and continued to act into the 1950s. The Yvonne Arnaud Theatre was named in her memory when it opened in 1965. She lived here in London Road, Guildford, for many years, where she died. Her ashes were scattered in St Martha's Churchyard and St Martha's Hill, and there's a memorial to her in the church grounds. Another pioneer to live in Guildford and to have a blue plaque installed on their former property was Daphne Frances Jackson, OBE, Britain's first female professor of physics. She lived here at 5 Omer Road, just off the Epsom Road, from 1972 until her death in 1991. She was a nuclear physicist, but rose to fame when she became the first female physics professor in the UK, when she was appointed by the University of Surrey at the age of 34. She eventually rose to be Dean of the University. A number of authors were recognised by a blue plaque on their homes in Guildford. The most celebrated was Lewis Carroll, who lived here between 1832 and 1898. Lewis Carroll, or the Reverend Charles Lutwidge Dodgson as he was really known, was known for the nonsense children's classics Alice's Adventures in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass. He moved the Dodgson family to Guildford, into the Chesants near the castle ruins in 1868. While he was constantly visiting Guildford, he wrote the second Alice book, Through the Looking Glass, on one of these stays in 1871. He died in 1898, and after a funeral service at St Mary's Church, was buried in a cemetery on the Mount, where his grave and the memorial cross erected by his brothers and sisters can be seen. There are two pieces of public art dedicated to the author in town. A statue of Alice and a rabbit disappearing down a hole by the river, and a metalwork of Alice going through the looking glass in the castle grounds. Zoopla values this 6-bed property at approximately £2.6 million. Another famous author to live in Guildford was the humorist P.G. Woodhouse. He was born on October 15, 1881, and lived here at 59 Epsom Road, which is now converted into flats. He was the third son of a British magistrate based in Hong Kong, so his parents in fact lived in Hong Kong. His mother was visiting her sister in Guildford when he was born prematurely. He was then baptised at St Nicholas Church, the town centre, receiving the first names Pelham Grenville. Woodhouse wrote more than 70 novels and 200 short stories, creating numerous much-loved characters, including the famous Jeeves and Wooster. George Bernard Shaw lived at Pickard's Cottage, located to the west of Guildford in Sandy Lane, between 1900 and 1902. Built in 1878, this house was converted in 1958 into two houses, Pickard's Rough and Pickard's Wood. Blue plaques add prestige and historical interest to a property, and those already erected are likely to be cherished to an even greater extent by the current owners. These may add value to the property, but it's not known by how much, as those that remain as they were when occupied by the famous residents have not been sold for many years, and so there are no sales records available on the land registry. Please like this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel.